Hello everybody, welcome back again to AGB Cars. Aaron here again with some analysis from the final day of the second pre-season test in Barcelona. So day 4 of course this isn't the final pre-season test. There will be another one in Barcelona next week, starting the 26th of February, running through to the 1st of March. And then of course it's only 2 weeks until the first race in Melbourne, Australia. So day 4, a really stop-start day. Many red flags. There were 6 today, all caused by different drivers. The first was Rosberg very early. He just had a spin, went into the gravel trap but caused no damage to the car and was able to continue. Then Alonso, which I'll talk more about later. Hulkenberg, his Force India started smoking. He had to stop on the track. Sainz then had a crash and hit the tyre barrier. Valtteri Bottas in the Williams stopped on track, and so did Nasser towards the end of the session. So, starting with the times now, the fastest man today was Romain Grosjean in the Lotus, doing a 1:24. 111 laps as well, which brings the Lotus up to 551 laps completed in all of pre-season testing, which is good. I mean, 111 laps today alone is very good, and also with a good time. But as I say in all these videos, times here are not to be taken seriously really at all, because all the teams have an agenda which they would adhere to themselves. So some teams would focus on quick runs while others would not, and just focus on reliability and long runs and so forth. So Grosjean was actually on the super soft tyre, which is one of the reasons why he was so quick there. When you look down at the other times, like Rosberg, for example, was on the medium tyres, which are thought to be 2 seconds a lap slower. So, like, you have to bear that in mind when you're looking at the times. Lotus, so super soft. So, like, the time is not great considering the tyre compound they were on. But they focused mainly today on race simulations, and they managed to complete one. And so Lotus didn't really have many problems today. The Mercedes engine in that is really helping them, and it seems that they have made a huge step forward from last year, where it was almost undrivable, as the drivers would say. Then Nico Rosberg was second fastest in the Mercedes, just under 0.3 slower than the Lotus, but he was on the medium tyres, and he completed the most laps as well today in 131. He did spin earlier, but he recovered from that. Medium tyres, so that lap is very quick. When you look at the fact that he had the medium tyres on, and no issues again really with the Mercedes. So Mercedes engine certainly looking reliable as it was last year. And I mean, that time as well was probably, the engine wasn't turned up to what it could be. So I mean, these times are not relevant really at all. You could read more into the amount of laps completed. Then third quickest was Kvyat in the Red Bull, 1:24.9, also over 100 laps done. He was on the soft tyre, but excellent laps all week by Red Bull. After they didn't show their potential really in Jerez. They struggled really, and I know that they're still not happy with where Renault are on the engine side of things, but certainly a decent amount of laps there today by Kvyat. He also completed a race simulation, but yeah, looking very reliable. But I suppose it's the speed that they also want as well. Then we moved down to Felipe Nasr in the Sauber. Sauber really struggled this morning. They suffered from what they called general issues, which could mean anything, I suppose, but that really hampered their running this morning. But then in the afternoon, they did manage to get a fair amount of laps done, and they ended with 73 completed, which, bearing in mind the troubles that they had, isn't too bad. And a 124.9, also not too bad, also on the soft tyres there. Yeah, so that's Sauber. Like, they're not really showing the form that they showed in Jerez. So, like, we're probably gonna have to wait. Like, the test next week in Barcelona will show more. Will, like, the teams will start to run quicker there and start to focus on the performance end of things more in the second test in Barcelona. Next up is Valtteri Bottas in the Williams, and he did a 125.3. He was on the soft tyres, but did complete 129 laps, which again just slightly off the lead of Rosberg, 131. So Williams, yeah, very good laps again today. So again, obviously showing the reliability end of things is top notch, just as it was last year. They also did a race sim today, and again, like, they're showing that it's not really the speed that they're focused on just yet. It's just hammering out all the little issues that they have, and being reliable first, and then of course working on the speed end of things. So they did have like a couple of issues, but they were just minor things that they were, expecting, and they are sorted out now, of course. So then Toro Rosso, Carlos Sainz was in the car again today, 125.6. He was on super softs though, and 88 laps completed as well. He did also, and then at the end of the day, he did have a error, I suppose, when he spun off and hit the tire barrier, which caused a red flag. So not a perfect day for them, but then they are followed up by Vettel in the Ferrari in the SF15T, 126.2 on soft tires, and this is not a competitive lap at all really by Ferrari, and they weren't focusing on that at all today. They said in their press release that it was tyre work and setup work that they were focusing on today. But certainly, like, over the test this week, we have seen some huge improvements from Ferrari, and hints that they have made huge improvements, like over last year, with all the new personnel in the team, and Maurizio Arrivabene in the technical director role as well. So things are looking good in Ferrari, certainly. Force India then, pretty bad for Force India. 36 laps completed, and their time was way off the pace. Bearing in mind again, of course, that Force India brought their 2014 car here. They are not yet completed with the development of the 2015 car, and we may not see that even next week in the second Barcelona test. So they are like really behind now on time, and they still, it is a 2014 car essentially, and they're still having issues with it. They had a failure with the power unit today, and like very few laps completed, but the issue with the power unit will be investigated back at the factory in between now and next Thursday when the test starts again. But the focus for Nico Hulkenberg today, the team said, was to get the grips with the new tyre compounds that Pirelli are bringing into the 2015 season. Of course, every year almost they changed the construction and compounds of the tyres a fair bit. So then finally is McLaren and Fernando Alonso. Only 20 laps completed, and time was way off as well. But well, there is a reason for that, and the reason is Alonso at the exit of turn 3 on his 21st lap, he left the track and hit the wall. It didn't, to be honest, didn't look like a huge impact. The car was unscathed really. It was just slight damage on the right hand side of the car, but it was enough for Alonso to be taken to the medical centre, and then also onto the local hospital as a precautionary measure, the team says. So yeah, and he's also going to spend the night in the Barcelona hospital. So not great for McLaren. Of course, they were plagued by issues all through the week, with the MGUK seal failing twice, and no real running at all in terms of speed. So McLaren, certainly with Force India, well behind everyone else in terms of development anyway. So yeah, that's it now for the analysis of day 4 in Barcelona. I will be covering the next test in Barcelona as well, so stay tuned for that. And there will also be a kind of a follow up to this for just general feedback on what we learned from this test here, the second test in pre-season testing for Formula 1 2015. So until the next time, goodbye and thanks for listening.